complexity of issues that you're facing on a personal level. And to that end, we promised you that we would certainly dig in, do a lot of research, and spend some time on this issue, and we have, both prior to this meeting today and as well as evidenced by our session. I'd like to ask our attorney to share with you some comments, and then we will certainly open up into a public session for you to get to speak if you wish.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. On October 13th, 2011 was the date that the Highlands Council designated a portion of the Fenimore landfill as a Highlands redevelopment area. A precedent to that action under the Highlands Act and DEP's Highlands rules was that DEP itself had to first designate that site as a brownfield site under laws that it is under, that are under the DEP's jurisdiction. So the applicant had to get that site designated first as a brownfield, then came to the council to ask for a redevelopment designation, and under the law, under exemption 15 of the Highlands Act, brownfield remediation is exempt from the jurisdiction of the Highlands Council. It is solely within the purview of the state DEP. The Highlands Council's redevelopment designation was in response to an application that contemplated an ultimate end use on that site of a solar facility. So the council's actions in 2011 were, from a purely planning point of view, consistent with some of the goals in the regional master plan to find and promote beneficial reuse of brownfields. The redevelopment designation was approved. And the conditions of the redevelopment designation were that certain Highlands resources were protected, and those were conditions of the redevelopment area approval. But I want to stress that that redevelopment area approval did not address technical requirements, human health requirements with respect to the operation or the continued operation or the closing of the landfill. The requirements that the council imposed on the redevelopment designation would only apply once the landfill is formally capped and closed with the approval of the DEP. Then and only then, if and when that happens and when an ultimate end use is proposed for the site, would the Highlands Council weigh in on the ultimate end use of the property to determine whether or not that end use and the plans for that end use, assuming the landfill is capped and clean and closed, are consistent with the Highlands resource protections that were built into this council's approval. So that's procedurally and administratively and legally, those were the bases of the council's actions, and that takes us to where we are today.
So we've reviewed the processes that we have followed led us to today. At this point, there's no other action that's being contemplated, and we certainly welcome you to take to the floor and speak to us. You're allowed 3 minutes each, and you do need to make sure that your comments during this portion are specific to the Fenimore case, because Chairman Riley is recused because of his position as Mayor of Roxbury. We've already had the public hearings, or the public speaking portion for other matters. So again, specific to Fenimore. Somebody like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
You can still talk.
Hi, my name is Melissa Datchison. I am a resident of Roxbury Township, and I first would like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak. By the news that was just shared by the attorney, I'm very disheartened. I moved to Roxbury less than 3 years ago to live closer to my nephews, Matthew, who's right here, and Kevin, who reside with my sister and brother-in-law in Poets Peak, which is a residential neighborhood. Their home is approximately less than a half of a mile from the toxic landfill. Spending time with Matthew and Kevin has always been a priority for me prior to even moving to Roxbury. We have spent countless hours outside playing freeze tag, riding bikes, having football and baseball catches, fishing, swimming in Horseshoe Lake, as well as playing volleyball at Horseshoe Lake. The list of outdoor activities is endless. One of our favorite pastimes is to go hiking, explore the unknown. While I could go on and on, I will keep my story short because, as the saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And Matthew's going to quickly pass around the picture. This is my nephew, Kevin, 4th grade, Matthew's brother, at the last part of the hike to the infamous Cliff's Ice Cream, April 2012. We then hiked back. Note, the path we followed is parallel to the toxic landfill, which I was not aware of at that time. Kevin lives in Poets Peak, less than half a mile of the poisonous site. And then if you flip it over, you can see Matthew there, who was in 6th grade, and he's in 8th grade now. Like I said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You can fill in the rest of this story by looking at the expression on their faces. I'm going to say it's one of the most treasured experiences I have had with both of them. Then something very sad and extremely troubling on so many levels happened. Again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Please do not let the smiles fool you on the first picture. The smiles we had were a symbol of pride as well as hope for the following day, August 22nd, 2013, which was the rally that took place at Horseshoe Lake, a protest to the DEP's handling of the poisonous landfill. The picture on the back, when you flip it over, tells the story of the day of the protest. And once again, my nephews helped with that rally. They were out in the streets literally begging for people to come in and save our community. What's wrong with these pictures? I will tell you, it's pretty simple. The DEP, who reports to Governor Christie, has allowed Roxbury Township to be poisoned and is continuing to do so. On a personal level, Governor Christie has robbed and is continuing to rob my nephews of their childhood, as well as thousands of children in Roxbury Township. Time flies by and Matthew and Kevin will never, ever get these years back, and neither will I with them, because we no longer do this in our community. I no longer take them on hikes and go to places that we did. Given their age, there is only so much they can do, but the real point is they shouldn't have to do anything, as they did nothing wrong. Governor Christie has the ultimate power to make this right for not only my nephews, Matthew and Kevin, but for all of the children of Roxbury Township. The first thing he could do is to direct the DEP to dig for the core samples so we know exactly what was allowed to be dumped by the DEP under his watch. We have a right to know what poisonous chemicals we are breathing in addition to the hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide. There's proven, if you did your research, that there is C&D material dumped from Hurricane Sandy in this landfill. And there's tons of data to prove that. So we know of hydrogen sulfide, we know of sulfur dioxide. Our town council has tried to work as hard as they can. They went to the court to try and get core samples to see what else is in there. They were denied. Why? To me, it's common sense that the DEP, who reports to the governor, Governor Christie, they have something to hide. And it's so unfair on so many levels and so wrong that residents do not know what's in the landfill there.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you that.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I hope the visual lasts in your mind forever.